Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Great Scott! There's no crying in baseball!
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
This is where the fun begins.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's right, Reed. We're ranking Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is a 2024 action-adventure comedy film based on the video game series Sonic the Hedgehog. It is the third film in the Sonic trilogy. In Sonic 3, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles unite to confront Shadow the Hedgehog, a formidable new adversary seeking revenge against humanity. This is a fairly surprising film for me. I really had a good time. I think that's honestly the surprising aspect of this whole trilogy, but let's get into why I enjoyed this movie with the 10 essential aspects of a movie. First is plot. Does the movie follow a comprehensive story arc and is plausible within the world that has been created? Something I really harp on when it comes to sequels or any movies after an original movie is, did you have a good reason to make this movie, or was it just a cash grab? Did you really need to tell any more of the story? Now, that being said, I often give a little leeway to children's movies because if a movie is simply popular because children enjoyed it, then you don't necessarily need a great reason to make another movie because kids don't really need great story after great story. Sometimes they just like seeing more of the same character. I would say, though, they didn't need that excuse. I like the plot of the story. I think the addition of Shadow is a great decision. I thought it was an awesome plot to follow. They also have Professor Robotnik, which is another addition, another character to this movie that I thought was a terrific choice. I really liked what they did with the plot. That is something that I will give credit to these movies, that every movie that they make afterwards has a good reason to exist. They really try to add more into the Sonic world, adding more characters that you like or are interesting. I thought they did a great job with the plot of this movie. Second is attraction. Does the movie have an interesting premise with a high entertainment value? Now, it is a movie for children, and I do think it's entertaining for children. I think children will like this movie. I think the characters are well made for children. I think the colors are nice. I really think the humor works well for them. So I think a lot of kids will enjoy watching this movie. Now, as for adults, personally, I enjoyed it. I thought the writing was pretty good as far as humor goes. There are some jokes in here that are made more for adults, not because they're inappropriate, but because they're poking fun at things in real life that kids aren't going to understand. I enjoy it. I really like that. I enjoy that when movies do that to also entertain adults as well. If you like Jim Carrey, you're going to like the humor in this movie. You're going to like Jim Carrey in this role. It is Jim Carrey at his best when he's just being him and being silly and goofy, and he just does a great job. I love him. I loved watching him. Also, I really enjoyed that in this movie you kind of get a double dose of him because he plays two different characters. So if you enjoy Jim Carrey and you have children, this is a great movie to go watch. Third is theme. What message or truth is the movie trying to convey? The message or truth of this movie was about teamwork, working as a team, that you're stronger together, but it was also about compassion and forgiveness. It was about understanding that everybody makes mistakes and that if you're true friends, if you love somebody, you can forgive them for the mistakes that they've made, even if they hurt you. And I think it's a great little lesson. I think it's great for children. I thought they weren't too obvious with it. They did a good job of weaving that lesson into the story very smoothly. Fourth is dialogue. Is there a real feel to the conversation? Now, the dialogue in this movie is dialogue that's usually in a kid's movie. I found personally Sonic to be annoying. I never really found him funny. I didn't like how much he talked, but he is a kid's character, and I think children will enjoy the jokes he made and how much he talked. However, the adult side of me really enjoyed Jim Carrey's section. Jim Carrey had a lot of dialogue that I felt was more for adults and was funny to adults. I thought it was a great balance there. I thought the dialogue is good for children, and was the childlike dialogue was a little annoying to me, but it wasn't ruined because I had Jim Carrey's dialogue that I found funny and interesting, and I thought it had a lot of good jokes in there that were well made. So honestly, the dialogue of this film is good. I wish it was a little less annoying as an adult, but I understand you're also making a movie for children. Fifth is acting. Are the characters convincing? Now, it's not necessarily about these characters being convincing. However, I've said his name several times already. I really, really love Jim Carrey in this role. He brought this movie to another level for me. It's a perfect casting. Personally, I grew up with him in movies, so I have some bias because I really enjoyed his movies, and I think I just really enjoy seeing him in a movie again because he just hasn't done much at all besides these Sonic movies, and he does genuinely seem to be himself. He seems to be happy playing this character. It's just fun to see him be himself, and I just really enjoy him in this role. I think they fit really well. Outside of Jim Carrey, I really like that Keanu Reeves was Shadow. I think that that's a perfect pairing. I feel like his voice and his demeanor as a person fits well for Shadow as a character. I thought he kind of took that character and made him just that extra badass. He's just cool. He's just a cool character. Shadow is a more serious, dark character. He's an awesome addition to the story, and he's cool. And I feel like everyone feels the same about Keanu Reeves. He's a dark character. He's cool. He's the cool guy in every movie. He's John Wick, you know, and I just think that that was a perfect pairing. 6 is cinematography. Is there a creative use of lighting, setting, and wardrobe to convey emotion? Now, the movie looks great. It's nothing new. It's nothing amazing. I mean, it just looks good. Animation nowadays, it always just has a standard that's been raised that looks good. It's nothing amazing. But as far as emotion goes, I really enjoyed what Shadow's character brought to the movie. It brought a real serious tone, a little bit of a darker tone to counter the very fun and bright tone that Sonic brings. Even Dr. Robotnik, he is a villain, but even he is just goofy and brings a fun tone. But Shadow really brought a darker tone into this movie, and I really enjoyed it. As an adult, I thought it was a good transition. It was something different to the movie series as a whole that I just really enjoyed. Emotionally, outside of just bringing this darker element, there is somewhat of an emotional scene at the end, but I mean, there's only so far you can go emotion-wise with a children's movie that's not going to go very serious. It's just a hard thing to do. I thought they did a good job trying to bring emotion into this movie with what they had. 7th is editing. This is all about the pace of the movie. The movie is an hour and 50 minutes, and I thought it was a good length. I didn't think it was too long, and I really didn't think it was too short. I thought they spent a lot of time on Sonic and Dr. Robotnik and his grandfather, rather than the two human protagonists that have been in the previous movies, and I thought that was a fantastic choice. Due to the focus on those characters throughout the whole movie, I really think it allowed time to pass without you realizing how fast it was passing. So this hour and 50 minutes really doesn't feel that long at all. 8th is soundtrack. I don't really think that the soundtrack of this movie was anything memorable. It didn't bring anything new to the table. It just was good enough for what it needed to be. 9th is directing. Now, I feel the director is in charge of the previous 8 aspects. They're the ones that have to give it their stamp of approval, put it all together, and make a really good movie. Now, the director of this movie is Jeff Fowler, and he has directed 3 total movies. The 3 movies he has directed are Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and finally Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now, I'm really glad that he has stuck with this series and they have stuck with him as the director. I think he has done a good job of trying to bring something new to the table with every Sonic the Hedgehog movie, trying to put something new into the story, trying to stretch himself as a director and do some new things. I think it's great. I really enjoy when they give one director the chance to go through all 3 movies, because this is really his baby and he's the one that knows it. I think he is somebody that really listens to the fans. I enjoy that. I think that's awesome. I think that's something that more directors need to do, is listen to fans, especially when you're working with material that has a fan base that already loves it and has opinions about it and knows where they want it to go. When you listen to them, at least if you make everybody angry, you're going to make that fan base happy, which is really the only important part. And I think that he has done that really well. I think he's a great director. I think he's done some good things through this trilogy instead of just trying to copy and paste the same movie 3 times. I'm excited to see what else he could do outside of Sonic. 10th is time. Does it stand the test of time? Yes and no. I think it'll be forgettable for a lot of people. Personally, I will remember it. Part of that is Jim Carrey. Part of that is just because I like every one of his movies. But I will buy these movies and I will watch them with my children, and I'm sure they will enjoy them. So I think they will hold up as good children's movie as time progresses. It's just whether you're a fan of Jim Carrey, whether you're a fan of Sonic or not, whether it will stand the test of time for you, but it somewhat will for me. Now for the review section. Rotten Tomatoes critics gives it an 86, the audience gives it a 96, and IMDb gives it a 73. Personally, I am in the range of 86. I think that's a great rating. I think this is a mid-B kind of movie. I think it does a lot of things well. It is supposed to be an entertaining movie, and that's exactly what it is, along with a good lesson that it has in there for children and adults. And it also has some emotion that they're trying to push in there that may not hit for every adult. It may hit for some, but will probably hit for children. I just think it does a lot of things really well. Just compared to every movie ever made, I just can't put it up into the 90s because it's really missing that emotional aspect. But I want to give it the props it's due for doing everything well that it was intending to do. Finally, for the rankings. For the year of 2024 on the entertainment side, out of 29 total movies, it is going to be second, just below The Fall Guy and above Red One. That might be surprising for some, but personally, I don't think there's been a lot of movies made for entertainment this year that actually were entertaining. I think there's been a pretty good amount of cinematic movies, but entertainment-wise, I feel like it's been really lackluster, and a good entertainment movie, even for children, is gonna go second. I have it above Red One because Red One is entertaining as well, but it's more seasonal. It's a Christmas movie. I don't think I'm popping that movie in to watch it in April, but I would do that with Sonic 3. So it's just kind of limited to being that seasonal Christmas movie. I have it below The Fall Guy because that's just the difference between an adult movie and a kid's movie. They're both good entertainment movies, but The Fall Guy is made for an adult, and I am an adult. So I find it funny. I really enjoyed the story of that movie, but I enjoyed the romance as well. It's just things that appeal to me as an adult, and that's why it's going to be above Sonic 3, a movie made for children. Now, cinematically, out of 29 total movies, I have it 11th, just below Joker, fully adult, and above Transformers 1. I have it above Transformers 1. Honestly, very similar movies for me. Really good children's movies that were made for entertainment, but both have some depth to them, to the world, to the characters that I find really interesting. The only difference here is that Sonic 3 has 2 other movies in which you've spent time with those characters, so when it tries to be emotional, it's just a little more effective because you've had more time with these characters than Transformers 1, where you just had the one movie. But honestly, they're fairly close. I just give Sonic 3 that edge because the emotional side that they tried to tap into was a little more effective than in Transformers 1. Now, I do have it below Joker Fully Adult, and that's just purely because that is a movie that was made for cinematography. It was made for art, not as much entertainment. It's not an easy watch to plop on all the time. You watch it because you want to watch a movie that is made for art, and it just does those things well. Whether you like the movie or not, it really did have some good acting. I really enjoyed the world that it was in. The plot may not have made a ton of sense for the first movie, but it still does some things really well, and I just think the acting performances alone are incredibly impressive, and I think those represent cinema as an art form better than a movie like Sonic 3, where it does a lot of things well, but it's just purely for entertainment. It's not breaking the mold and showing something amazing. It just is a really solid movie that does what it's supposed to do, but it doesn't have anything to stand out cinematically. Now for the decade of the 2020s, on the entertainment side, out of 31 total movies, it's going to be second, again below The Fall Guy and above Red One. It's there for the exact same reasons as before. Now, for the decade of the 2020s, out of 31 total movies, it's going to be 11th, again just below Joker Falling Adult and above Transformers 1. It's there for the exact same reasons as before. Okay, now all time, on the entertainment side, out of 43 total movies, it's going to be 7th. Just below A Million Ways to Die in the West and above Red 1. Now I have it below A Million Ways to Die in the West, pretty much the same reasons as The Fall Guy. It's just a movie that was made for adults and was made for entertainment, and it does it well. So I'm going to gravitate to it because I am an adult. I enjoy the story. I enjoy the jokes better than a movie like Sonic 3. Even though they're both good entertainment movies, one was just made for adults, one was made for children. Now, cinematically, out of 43 total movies, it's going to go 17th, just below Joker Fully Adult and above Transformers 1. It's there for the exact same reasons as before. Now, that's all I've got for Sonic 3. Surprisingly, a really good movie. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the new aspects with Shadow. I just thought the story was elevated. It really felt like it was made with love. It was made for fans. I just enjoyed seeing Jim Carrey again. What did you think? What were your favorite aspects of this movie? Do you think this is the best video game adaptation movie that has been made? I really think they've done a great job, even though that's kind of sad to say that Sonic could be one of the best ones. Make sure, if you want to watch somebody that does a similar style than I do, to check out my best friend Bosso Movie Reviews. He does the same thing where he ranks it against the same release year, decade, and all time. He has his own separate list. He's done a ton of different movies already, and he has a very different opinion. He very much favors entertainment, I think, where I favor cinematography. So if that interests you, if you enjoy superhero movies, he does a lot of those, so go check him out if you want. Otherwise, make sure to comment. I really enjoy hearing from you guys. It's the whole reason I started this channel. I wanted to interact with people who also love movies. I want to hear your opinion about where I'm ranking these movies. I just want to hear your opinion on what you thought about the movie, even if you don't comment much. Like I don't comment much on YouTube. I would really enjoy it if you just put something down below. Even if you just comment the next movie that you want me to watch. Make sure to subscribe so that you can watch me review that movie. I will tag you in the description for whatever movie you suggest when I get to reviewing it. That's all I've got. I'm Mr. Majoritarian. Stay classy, San Diego.